Well,
5:15 on the bus.
so I tell people all the time,
Yes.
I like my husband
You
and
guys
I
can
went
hear me?
his oldest moved to Bellingham, Washington. She lives here.
He's so ridiculous. All right, we might as well call to order and can we do 5:15? Yep, 5:15. Anybody have any changes to the previous agenda? This current agenda, I'm sorry. No.
Other than that, I think you want to
Mark.
take the people off
Here.
consultants.
And Leslie online.
Do you
Not
see
yet.
Leslie yet?
Not yet.
The review findings was noted as being partly presenting it, so I guess we'll just go over it
That's great.
without.
Should I just review it? Separately together? Oh, it's right up there.
I mean, copies and.
Yeah, that's good.
If someone, wanted to write on one electronically, so that I can edit after.
Can you download it?
Well, we can also. Printed copy.
That's what I was thinking.
Whatever's best for Allison.
All right.
The overview of the process is one, the research existing programs and facilities. Includes the analysis of current facilities, partnership opportunities.
I'm hoping he's gonna have more detail. Am I wrong?
I think he wants us to get into detail a little bit and have this sort of as a template for the presentation. Right. Maybe, I think that's what I got.
Well, they did the analysis, we didn't.
Yeah, I would assume this before.
I guess I thought a little bit that might be in here now.
Right.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
Although the ideal PowerPoint is just to hit the big points and you fill in the rest of early. Because you can't read all the small print.
So maybe our feedback would be, are you providing more information? Good.
More
It's
information.
unlocked, isn't it?
Should be.
Well, they're gonna have the report, the detailed report prior to the presentation, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
So they would have their questions, I would hope, beforehand, so this would just be the PowerPoint presentation. So I would think you wouldn't want a whole lot of detail here. This would be the high. That's how I took it anyway,
okay.
I was
but I'm
pulling
just
up,
one person.
I was pulling up our minutes from last time. I think the way we talked about it, because we said a call out for discussion points. For when we're presenting to the board, we wanted to have discussion points on the slide where we could talk about what our current programs is, where we're struggling as a town, to keep access to the spaces we currently have. So I think that this is kind of like a PowerPoint where we would like use some of this to do our presentation, but I could be wrong. Probably be from Mark.
So maybe just a little more clarification.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
So we want him to clarify if he's gonna add more details.
Clarification on what he means by overview of the.
Well, I mean, similarly to assess partnership opportunities as well.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, that's fine.
So I think what I read this as the first thing we did is we did an analysis of what we have for current opportunities and facilities right now. And then we talked to the programs that we're already involved in, and that's how we know we don't have, you know, maybe the opportunity at the school won't be forever because of staffing and janitorial and some of the things we mentioned before. And then what we did is after we analyzed what we already had, then we moved on. So this is the overview of what we did as a group. The second part was we had the focus group meetings. We kind of took all of that information, we compiled it, and then we had the town-wide feasibility. I think that's what he's trying to say. Again, I didn't write this.
I 100% agree with you on the facilities. Partnership opportunities, was that,
I think he may have just worded it weird.
or is that when we went and visited with Six Rivers?
No, I think this is before. I think this is what we did leading up to.
Or the partnerships to schools and.
What I take it as, I
So
don't know.
it's more the discussion
What,
before any action.
Right.
Right?
and then part two is starting this year with the focus groups. And we made that list of all the possible amenities, consolidated it, came up with probable costs, and then put it together. The
Oh, here we go. Next page has everything, right?
Yeah, except for he flipped indoor and outdoor.
Right. Shall I keep going?
I feel like I thought we did a lot more. Is that,
What, as far as?
yeah, I feel like, no, I just feel like there's more. Like, I think we-
I think that slide with the indoor outdoor was in the wrong spot. I think that slide 4 really goes right after that first overview slide we just talked about. So in our research, we determined that many programs are hosted at school facilities. Community programs complete with school and adult.
Compete with, yeah.
Compete, yeah. So I think slide 4 actually goes after slide 2.
That makes sense to me.
Are you making notes on this?
Putting it in our meeting notes.
Okay, thank you. Keep going.
Yeah, I mean, is there more on?
This is where probably need to look. I printed up Lynn's documents that she had of quotes that people said. That, I thought you guys might want to go through and decide which ones you wanted to use.
I think there might have also been, when I looked at what you sent out, you did include more. And because it was all like the data from.
Yeah.
Is that what you're-
Yeah, yeah, I just feel like.
No, what?
I just feel like-
No, when I sent it to the printer, it timed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just clarifying that.
I apologize.
Okay, thank you. I just feel like,
I'm
I feel like we've
glad
done
someone
a
looked
lot more than 4 pages worth of work in the past
at it.
2 years.
All right, so,
One other thing to note, just going back to Mark Lee's email, The town council presentation attached has been updated based on the comments from our last meeting. The report is in final edit mode and will be sent after. So this is really just the slides that we will use to present.
Okay,
This isn't the full.
okay.
We're all breathing. Yes,
That's great. No, I just making sure
just
completely.
getting.
Shall we keep moving then?
Yes, we should.
Public outreach, community engagement, and this is where we need to take a look at the quotes that Lynn provided us with. And
Didn't you put the quotes in somewhere else in this slideshow?
I'm looking.
I thought I saw them somewhere.
I think that slide's in the wrong spot, but I think we can come back to it, where it should go in the presentation.
Oh, yeah.
Number 15.
So if you need to turn your back, feel free.
Is that?
If you jump to slide 15, is where he put quotes. Yeah.
So then slide 5.
Sorry, guys, my pages are not numbered. This, public outreach. Is this what you're talking about?
This is the,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and it's towards the end where I think it should be. So I think that slide that he has as a
Number
slot,
5. Yeah.
we can delete.
Move on to slide number 6.
Is the public outreach / community engagement focus group.
Mhm.
I think it's pretty.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So we're basically just gonna talk about. Easy.
And then these were the meeting dates, how many were invited, how many attended.
That's exactly how I sent it in. Just copied it.
That shows something.
You go, girl.
More about how good you are.
Just had to call that out.
And here were the demographics of the people that we met with.
Also my,
Yeah.
and these were the activity areas of interest that we had, that people could select when they chose that they wanted to be a part.
Great.
A question on that. Did we word it as adult education? Do we remember?
I have it.
That number, that wording is tossed around.
I know,
since the beginning.
I know. I just remember when we had one of our focus groups, and I don't remember the gentleman's name here.
It was Alan Lambert, and he was the director of the adult.
Yeah, he's not anymore.
He is.
Oh, he was. I remember him making a comment when I had said something in regards to adult ed.
Yes, that is how we
That is.
worded it when we put it in there.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So that's good.
Yep.
I think those slides right there, those 4 slides, I think it captures who we talked to, what people were interested in, what demographics we hit. I think there does need to be, when we present it, there needs to be something said about where we made, the fact that we sent the emails to everybody. We broadcast it on the Facebook page, we put it in the prior, just how we got the,
We talked. Maybe it's
Well,
on
I
here
think
somewhere.
we need to talk about it in two places, both here and then when we get to the survey, because we did the same thing in both.
Right, I'm just saying, we talked about it last meeting in March, so. Might come up somewhere else.
Yeah, maybe. I haven't read through the original.
You're right, though.
Keep going.
And then my question, looks like what he did is after the focus group's area of interest, the next slide jumps right into the results from the feasibility study. Should we have a slide or something in between that talks about how we compiled data? Or should we talk about how we compiled the data from the focus groups to create the survey?
So I admittedly didn't have time to review this before tonight, so. I'm just learning as we're going. Sort of. I do want to go back 2 slides to the focus groups. Does the third bullet, the broad solicitation, Facebook, website, etc. Is that everything we used?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Do we need, is that everything?
Parks and Rec lister, voting polls, tax collectors, notice in the crier, website, Facebook, yeah.
He's forgetting the Easter egg.
How many people did you talk to, honestly? 6.
7 families, yeah.
Okay. All right. Then could you please make a note?
No. Okay.
Okay,
So I think we have it there. It's good.
okay. So you're gonna see the focus group, you're gonna see the meeting, so we're moving back where we were. To the study, the survey.
Oh, there's the Easter egg.
See, guys, we're putting together the slideshow we're gonna present to you guys in August, so you'll be well equipped, okay?
Chair, are you willing to entertain a question?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Gonna ask if you guys were gonna ask like the middle schoolers or the high schoolers at all. Didn't see any sort of like survey like done at Mount Airy. I think that'd be really good. Just a thought.
It was absolutely talked about many times. Some were invited to the focus group. And, everybody, didn't it?
Think so?
I would send like a stats, make it a problem. Here, do this on 5-minute break.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Just cut it out.
Okay, public outreach, community engagement. So, Allison, did this getting back to your question before we jump into starting with some of the results, does this slide here not cover what you were asking?
Hold on. Want to write it down before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I don't know if it captures, I mean, we did the focus groups in January, the first like 3 weeks in January. And we made the survey available starting March to the end of April, I want to say.
Yeah.
So is there anything we want to describe in how we compiled the data? We had quite a few meetings in there where we discussed how we would group that and make our questions. Or maybe that's not worth calling out because we had help from market research and from Harris.
Well, I think in the first bullet, that he's got developed by the Town of Topsham Community Center in collaboration with them.
Maybe adding on to say by reviewing information provided within the focus groups, maybe just calling that.
Just adding,
Yeah.
just kind of enriching that first bullet point.
The survey was available online along And then,
I'm just capitalizing it so I can remember that. This is this.
and then down here, broad solicitation on, website, nothing else.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Yes. Results.
Sure, she's.
Keep going. This is all the data we've reviewed already.
Change.
Yeah.
The only question on this was his little, on the next slide. That's nothing. That's not enough. Which slide are you on there?
I'm on public outreach, community engagement.
The first slide I have after the townwide feasibility survey
This one?
is, yeah, that one. The only thing I'm questioning is what he has in parentheses and equals 899.
It means 899 response. But the number of responses.
To that.
Oh. That should have been pretty easy, but I ain't figuring it out, so thank you. Okay, all right. Sorry, Sam.
No, that's okay.
Okay, then the engagement, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what the high school statistics class told me.
Yeah, I need to go back to Bill Mark.
And you know, I'm thinking about your question in regards to the middle school and the students.
Yeah.
And I think what ended up happening is we were in a transition from one board of selectmen to a second board of selectmen. And we were kind of led to not go outside Topsham to really assess Topsham. Whereas if we went to the middle school or the high school, it would have been nice, but if we went there, because in a previous survey, we got criticized by
That makes.
folks for looking outside of what Topsham wants.
Hmm.
Even though we know the impact that outside towns in the school district have, that we were more or less asked to
That makes
stick to
sense.
this. So I just didn't want you to think that we didn't think about it, but why we didn't think about
Maybe the principal getting on the left.
Yeah.
And they'd run the back.
it. Yeah, you got it. All right, next.
Can we just I'm sorry, Pam, can we back up again? This particular one, like when it shows on my laptop, I can't read without trying to make it huge.
So ask him to put this on 2 pages.
Well, maybe not on 2 pages, but is this as big as it's gonna be when it's presented?
Yeah.
Like, I can't read.
They'll
with-
also have they'll have a printed handout.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the other people in the room too, because it's just gonna be the select board that has the handout.
It's hard to read.
It's hard, yeah.
Can you, no, I mean, it can, but I'm wondering if you can invert it, right? So it demonstrates vertically with the bars going out, you might be able to have a little bit more space to write things.
Or split it into 2 slides.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Table below shows an estimate of how much each type of facility might increase the annual property taxes of a typical 350,000 residential home in Topsham based on a 20-year bond. I guess I found myself saying, what is a base facility? If you're looking at this, are we talking about 2 basketball courts and bathrooms?
If you back up 2 slides, he spreads out, he explains that in slide 12.
The base facility would include.
At the top.
Yeah, maybe, I just think, as long as he goes through and covers that, I just didn't want it to get.
Well, it's,
Okay,
yeah, it's also important to just know. Say.
emphasize it
Yeah.
when you're presenting, yeah. Okay. there are the dollars and cents. Okay? And these are the quotes. Now, Lynn, are these your quotes?
These are the ones, so I took the raw data from the end of the survey when people could go in and make their comments. I took all of that and I read through every single one and tried to pick ones that would give a broad view from different people without saying the same thing over and over again. So, with the positive ones, it was easier to find, ones that had good quotes, coming from different perspectives. The majority of the negative ones were, not if it's gonna raise my taxes type of quotes. And there was quite a few that were, it depends, it depends, it depends, it depends. So that was really kind of like, well, gee, you know? So, I tried to get a good overview, from what we had. And there's plenty more if none of these, or some of them you want to use, some of them you don't.
Go to the next page and see.
I think that for me, I think this piggyback for everything we've done this year, I think those quotes kind of capture. it.
Yeah.
Lots of positive, lots of people saying they want something, but everybody expressing some concerns about what it's. Yeah, so I think for me, his idea of having some generalized quotes in there from actual survey respondents, I think this is great. I think it captures it. So I'd say we keep that as is.
And I don't know where I seem to remember him saying that he would put them in various places throughout the report.
Right.
I don't know if that's still intention or not.
The last time we did this 4 years ago, that's what happened. They kind of had a sheet in between that had a quote just to kind of capture
Shouldn't be like
somebody
a space
and just to
breaker.
break it up. Well, while you were talking about something, that kind of broke it up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and we're back to that.
So should the one we slide before that, should that be changed as well, like the other one? Too hard to read.
That is,
No,
No, there's
it's just
two.
one.
This is the revised.
The second one.
Yeah.
So I have it as 13 and 17.
Yeah.
And I have a note that it's too hard to read as is. And I have the suggestion to invert it. Because I agree that would give more space for the words themselves.
Or 2 pages even.
Or
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever's.
So it's legible.
and then we'll-
All right, would you be interested in helping with the effort to raise private funds? 15% said yes, 45 said no, 29 said they don't help, and 12 said they prefer not to. Yes.
Sure. On the last slide, the last bar says other, please specify, and it looked like there was 117 responses. Is there a way to depict what those other please specifies were? If there were additions to what was on the list currently, or maybe those might be good ideas in addition or subtraction of other ones, just, maybe something that's kitchen commercial grade, but they might want something that was on that list that somebody suggested that we may have.
Allison, can you make a note on that? I know we have the list of the things that they came up with.
I'm also just more curious what's on that list, because I feel like you guys have compiled a pretty good list overall, but 117 people had different ideas too, so it just poked my curiosity, you know?
I can tell you off the top of my head, a lot of those other responses were ice rink.
Okay,
A couple of them were also,
Same.
stage. Acting and.
Yeah.
We also had, I don't think, was the makers,
It's there.
the
The
makers
makers
studio.
space is number 7. Yeah, that got a huge response. More the craft area, I think, than I mean, there are different maker spaces. Some people use it for commercial, some people use it for creative, and I think. Okay,
thank you.
sure.
We have a note to get that, and we can share that as well.
Yeah, write it down.
Write it down.
So we did this one already.
You could like hyperlink it.
They-
Brings you right to all the total data.
So not to go off topic too much, but at my job, they now have PowerPoint Live. So if you're presenting and you're all in a team meeting, you can click the link with somebody else is presenting and it'll bring you to the information.
Index and PowerPoint
Um,
and Excel.
so here it clarifies what the top list. You guys can't read this yet. Okay, there.
Good.
Can you go back to the home?
Huh?
I don't think it would be a feasibility study.
Location site would be feasibility. That was the second half they bid on, it, wasn't it?
No, that was it wasn't feasibility. Design. I mean, I think the most important next step, if the select board decides they want to go ahead, be to authorize administration to negotiate with some possible location. Because the design really can't be done until
Right,
that would probably be before this.
right.
And the fundraising is based on that as well.
So we need to add 2A. Consideration of authorizing.
I would say that's one.
Is it one? Okay.
I think this committee's work's done when this report's presented.
Right.
So the select board needs to decide if they want this to move forward at all. The first step, I think, moving forward, we start to locate a location.
Can I also ask if any of you are familiar with universal design as an accessibility concept and how things are, and how that's gonna be implemented if this goes forward at all?
The architect. should
Okay,
be
cool.
that.
I know like with other towns, they've been like, we really want to front of design, so that was something that we had in the presentation, so I didn't know if that would be something good to include. But that makes sense.
And that's a question.
I just have a question. I think it's amazing. 14% of people wanted to be part of fundraising. Do you have their contact information in that?
What a silly question.
Have you worked with us?
Did you know that Lynn was the fundraiser chair?
Yes.
That has not been voted on.
It must be that.
Right.
So are we changing the wording of the feasibility?
I think that will send it.
Yeah. Okay. So,
I'm not quite sure of wording. I think Martin might better wording.
yeah,
That's it.
okay.
So we have the notes that we want for them.
I have the notes of everything we just talked about that I can share back with Mark Lee to make those adjustments to this.
Okay, so then this makes the next meeting even more. And I'll be on vacation for that, so we can talk.
Well,
I think so.
You're shooting to present this on the 15th. So
yes.
Yeah, it seems like a great idea a month ago.
if not then, the next meeting's the first Thursday in September. After that
Oh, that's not that bad.
would be September 5th.
Okay, thank you.
First week of school.
Labor Day.
Well, I know that first week is lots of times for some of you. Ice cream, you guys have dates on that yet? Okay, all right, new principal, you don't know what the thoughts are gonna be. Okay. All right.
I know the FOWC, at least in FOWC is involved in that kind of thing, and we have a meeting in the middle of August. I don't know.
So our next meeting was supposed to be on the 12th.
Our next meeting is August 5th at 5:15.
Oh. I'm not gonna be here either.
Well, we talked about me not being here, and that's.
That was the Wendy typically.
So. Sorry.
So we have a choice of either moving our next meeting to touch base before we present on the 15th,
Yeah.
or moving when we present.
And to be on the agenda for the 15th, we need all the materials for that. SIBs.
That's why we took the 5th.
Yeah, we're going.
All right, so
September, but they don't have to have that stuff until August
28th. 27th.
You're right, but we were attempting to do it August 15th, and that's just, it's summer, it's coming too quick.
going too quick.
That's true.
So
So
we're changing, presenting on September 5th, No. yes?
Yes,
Which means we need the documents in by,
27th.
much more breathing room. And I'd really like to walk through this with Mark again anyway. I mean, I know you guys certainly can.
so therefore, are we not meeting again this month?
No, we just, well, when we get to number 8, we'll go over it.
We just got agreed on that.
when we prove, so the documentation that needs to be provided on by August 27th is the full Harriman report and the PowerPoint.
PowerPoint's optional because of the small print, probably would be nice.
Okay.
But definitely.
Okay.
She want them to have a chance to read it in advance so they can,
Okay.
as they say, or have a hot bench, ready to ask questions.
And what'll happen is it all gets scanned and put up on the website. And look at everything beforehand as well as, you know, it'll be available to them while the slideshow is being presented.
Okay. Negates point 2 in, that takes care of point 1 and kind of negates point 2, because we'll probably try to have the PowerPoint ready at the same time and make sure that that's available as well, I think. Steve and Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
At the end.
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
And you know, in PowerPoint, in the actual one for the people who are speaking, you can actually, there are talking points you can put on the side. So when we meet with Mark next, you may want to have it up, you may want to have that pulled up so you can put your talking notes in and then print that so you have it for you when you present.
Well, I thought Mark was the one presenting.
I think he was doing some of it, but they felt like the chairs needed to do some since it was the community.
Okay, I think was why we were gonna discuss who's presenting. Be another talking point with Mark.
Great, so that was number 3 of the review findings report. Do we want to officially go on to number 4, even though we just kind of touched on it?
I just took all those notes under.
Okay, so we're good.
Number 5, Mark was not able to hook up with the guy from Alfond and, Boys and Girls Club of Waterville, but he intends to do that. I did connect with Dwayne from Wiscasset, and he was supposed to have sent me their financial kind of platform, so to speak. So you could see that or have a sense of that. I have not seen it, and that was like the Friday before I went on vacation, and I was on vacation last week. Or not last week, the week before. So I just haven't had time. Last week was pretty crazy. So I haven't had time to touch base with them, but I will. But the other one who I had not seen until today when I went up to pick up shirts for soccer camp. Have any of you been in the Lisbon Community Center? They got an old school and they've renovated.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I was gonna put a call into their recreation director as well to see if that might be one we could look at. It's obviously a little different because it's in a school. But Mark's been up there for a long time and he's pretty easy to talk to and get that and more reliable.
Yeah.
And just so our guests can understand, we're hoping to tour some other facilities to get a feel for if we missed anything or if any of our citizens of Topsham have missed anything possibly that we might want to add that we just have to have. And also a little bit about the income, really. I'd like to see that side of it. Yes.
One of the questions I had, talking about fundraising, is will there be in the presentation plans or ideas for fundraising to be included?
So once you authorize them to go forward,
Yeah, we really looked at that last slide real quickly, and it's essentially, basically, we're asking permission to move forward and move on to the next step, which would be include fundraising efforts.
I would suggest that you have a plan of what your intentions are. Just like once you determine there's a community center, then your function here has technically ended and we'll be extending it to do a new phase, perhaps come up with the wording for what that would be, the charge would be, so that when we're voting, we know what the charge specifically is? Or is that something that we would decide as a select board?
One of the things we talked about, it's kind of hard, Mark kind of agreed. It's hard to get any traction fundraising until we know what the building would be and where it would be. And so I think the first step is to see if we can find a site. And then it would be to have the next phase of what Mark had originally offered, which is for them to design something, and then come up with projected costs, then you get off and running. It's gonna be hard to get people to donate if they don't feel like it's worth it. Which if you're trying to fundraise before you have a design or location or anything else.
Yeah, I was thinking more of what the charge is, like what your intention and your purpose is as a committee is going to change. Because the first part to complete the feasibility study, and that was where it ended. So now we have to create a new charge for you to continue into the future. I'm just suggesting it might be nice to have some wording that would just say, we're going to look for a site, and if we find a site, then we'll look into the design plan, just so we know, and then an end date, like you're going to do all of this within a year or whatever. So it's not just open-ended that you have to charge that you'll be doing.
Yeah, I think that's what we were trying to accomplish on that final
It's just a
slide.
few sentences to present to the board, so voting was, this is what we see our charge to be in the next phase, in the next, be helpful.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Ryan.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep asking, but you guys are piquing my curiosity today. In your visits, it sounds like you're having struggles getting the financial reports from some of the people. Is it, or has it been asked, are those financial just simply for the operating costs of the building rather than?
that was all I asked.
Okay,
You
perfect.
have to know that Wiscasset has 3 people full-time in the whole facility and Dwayne's running programs
Right.
and yes, I'll send it to you. And
I just didn't know if
Yeah.
it was like you're trying to find out how much money or revenue they're making as well. I just think the operating costs are pretty,
pretty necessary, well, they're necessary.
yeah,
And
it's just
they-
how much do we have to make to get this thing
Yeah.
running and profitable? Or running, you know,
Yeah.
what is it, can it be profitable to the taxpayer? Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the, in person, we kind of push a little further. Some other information, you know what I mean? Oh, how many members do you have?
Well,
Per se.
to kind of backtrack, when initially Harriman brought us a little bit of a review to us, or a presentation, when we were disappointed, they actually brought us the facility, showed us what they thought we needed and wanted, and said, this is what it's gonna cost you. And we said, that's not where we're at yet. And that was what,
A year
2 point
ago.
something? Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I was here.
How much was it? It was 2 point something? It was New
I have the
Hampshire,
notes in
right?
my folder at home.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Didn't we casually ask the Brunswick Rec Department to send us some financial information and we didn't hear back from them either?
Yeah. Well, I think they're very,
Effective?
yeah, why are we doing this?
Yeah, well, that's why I think operating business should be able to
I think I can
share
get, I
what
should be able
their-
to get operating.
what their
costs.
cost of business is,
Yeah.
because, I mean. They're profitable, they don't want to share how much they're making maybe, but how much they're spending.
Don't they have annual reports where that data would be?
Yeah, I think the operational for Brunswick is right on.
It's probably by, department, opposed to putting up that. So it's the rec department as a whole, that's this much for payroll, this much. for-
They have a finance director, but I'm assuming no.
She's the manager. No, I'm joking. They're meeting tonight.
She may be the-
Yeah, she may be the manager. But no, I think we can get it. I can get it from JS. I can get it from Sabrina or Tom.
And the bottom line is that we've at least asked.
Yeah.
To get some input. And
There's, yeah,
we
there's.
can't force anybody to disclose more.
It's true, it's just, it's good information if it's possible to get, if it's not, you know, it's not. It never hurts, it never hurts.
Great, so that's our touring other community centers update. We're still in process of that. Mark is obviously working on Alphonse Center. That would be a good one. Check.
Well, I think that's really where we're looking. We want to find out. I did hear that Brunswick Y is under financial duress. So I'm not sure what's happening there, if they're gonna stay or not. You know, well, the Y is separate. It, has a gymnasium and fitness area and things such as that, but, yeah.
It's a satellite.
Yeah, it's a satellite, but it's not doing well. But I think that's part to do with the hallmark and, you know.
Of the creating of a new rec center. Okay. And now the review of our minutes. from last Third.
Can I, go back to one thing for one? Anne's comment with more detail on what the charge would be, like having a little bit more information on that final slide. If we wanted to include a couple bullet points going back on what some of our fundraising ideas were, would that be something we would want to include at this time? Because I'm gonna send notes back to Mark Lee, so if we're gonna add a little bit more information. I know we discussed a lot of different things over the weeks, or,
Well, this kind of, in my opinion, it kind of goes back to what Mark was saying is that, so we don't know. Is there a pool? So if there's a pool, then we look to Mid-Coast Hospital. Or something. There's different ideas as to, so a lot of it is based on.
Should we have something generic that says that as a team, we've discussed fundraising opportunities dependent on what facility is approved upon?
Well, after Mark Bailey's comment, I guess I'm not so concerned about specifics of fundraising, but more about the charge, because your term charge is ending, and in order to continue as a committee, you need to have a new charge. And so if you help create that charge, then it won't be the select board that's going to determine what your charge is. You can help shape that.
Sure.
I mean, take your action steps from today. On approval, this is what we would do. That's your new charge.
Maybe it's work, again, assuming they approve this, work with the town manager's office to identify a location, and then do the
Possible funding,
design plan.
yeah, and
Facility and
Pursue funding.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's.
Got some of that on our last slide.
We do.
The conclusion and recommendations, fundraising at an appropriate time. What, develop a model for how the community would operate. We've got a little bit of that.
Okay, so I think then the note is slide 20. We would want to expand on slide 20 to call out the first sentence to say the part about getting approval from the select board to move forward, and then design,
I like,
location design and
location design and finance.
I like what Ryan said, upon approval. Yeah, next step.
it's just a little background to it. Also, is one of the thoughts on committee works as a scope is that oftentimes committees are just given a title and they're off, they go, and then they kind of just stick around forever, just doing a bunch of work, and no one really knows what they're doing. And something new that we're trying to do, I should speak as a Topsham resident, but on the select board is that we're trying to make sure that each committee has an actual charge for what we're trying to get them to do as a town. So when we put a committee together, there's an actual foundation of this is what you guys are tasked with doing, nothing more, nothing less. This way, it prevents the wandering off of all of the different ideas and it keeps everything focused. But I think more what Anne is referring to is this is new, I think, for a lot of what we're trying to do with committees, and just having that task list set out just gives you guys a scope of here's the power that you guys have to go after it as best you can. And we can create a charge all the same, but I think also if you guys know what the next steps are, action steps, it would be appropriate to put those action steps as your next charge. Once those are completed, if we have to make another vote or whatever, if there's further steps, then we can continue along the line. And then eventually there'll be no more charges and the committee will dissolve because we'll have a community center. Hopefully if this like goes through.
Sort of like when Mark shot me down, wanting to move into fundraising efforts. Don't do work that's not necessary. So that makes sense.
Right, and that's, I mean, it just makes the town run a little bit more efficiently.
Sure.
And keeps better track of everyone's time without it just wander off after sitting in many committee meetings with agendas of 5 pages. It's, you know, just.
I just get the clearer mission.
Yeah, it does. It really just,
That's exactly right.
one of the things about it is transparency, and it just makes it a lot easier for everybody if everybody knows what's going on and there's no questions
And
about
what the job,
So that brings up a question in my mind. So when this presentation is done, then technically this committee is disbanded, right?
unless they choose to give you a charge at that time. And then you decide whether you
Want
want
to
to
continue
continue.
or not. So if we want to continue on, then we don't have to get approval and be
No,
interviewed
you
again.
would rename the same committee with a new charge.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
that accurate.
Yeah, it's up to you
Yeah.
guys.
Yes.
So you certainly have, change their chart and continue the same.
Yeah, okay, that's,
And it would make sense to continue the same group who's been invested in this, right?
yes.
No, I didn't know if I had to be interviewed again.
No.
Geez, you know?
Great. All in favor of moving on to review our minutes?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. reviewed them already. I thought they were perfect.
Yeah.
Didn't catch it.
I read these like a week and a half ago or whenever. Allison sent them out. I don't know when that was. Yeah, there's that. I moved it, we.
Should to accept. Great.
So action steps and confirmation of the next date and might be a little out of order. Because the only thing I really have for action steps right now is for me to get these still over to Mark so we can get the.
And also along this, at one point we had towards the end of the meeting, we had a moment to be anybody that was sitting at the meeting. So can we add that now so we can say hi to visitors?
That's true, we didn't do it in the beginning.
Yeah,
Right. Well, we already started.
right. And I can, yes, because we didn't have visitors. Let's update that.
So would either of you four would like to just say who you are and what's going on?
Sure. I'll start.
Okay.
My name is Jessica Barnecki. I graduated from Mount Ara. I've been living in Brunswick for a while. I just moved back. I'm a community organizer. And yeah, I just care about our issues.
Great.
And the people I live around. And this is my friend Autumn.
Yeah, I'm Fulbad. I also went to school in this area. Currently I'm a Brunswick resident, but I haven't found any real community meetings before, so I've been someone who
We know Ryan.
Ryan Holmes, Topsham resident, select board member. I like attending committee meetings to see what's going on. This is where the real work is done. And from here, it can move forward. This stuff. I enjoy listening to you guys talk. I'd like to be to more of them. I think just a few, but glad to be here today. Finally to be back. And I do certainly appreciate all the work that you guys do.
Thank you. My name is Ann Callahan, I'm select board, and my public comment would be thank you for all the work that you've done. It's really to be commended. Again, you've done.
So I don't know if you two have been able to, but if you go onto the website, you can touch up on.
I checked out the website.
Awesome.
I checked it out.
It's a lot of information, I get that, but,
I took the survey.
oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
Action step.
So what I have down so far is I'll provide notes to Mark Lee. I guess I should add an action step, Pam to follow up on community visit.
And the financial flash operations. Like budgets.
What year did you graduate?
Do we need an action step for the 117?
Feel like I was teaching you.
I have that in the notes to send to Mark.
Okay.
Would Mark
You did not have to
be the one that would have that information, or would it be Brian?
Well, Brian,
So I'll make a note to include questions for Brian.
we probably.
Did Brian ever send us? Remember when
He did. And it's just, you have to manipulate it yourself, so
Okay.
you're the IDEX person.
Well, I've never seen the. I bet I figured it
You
out.
could make it.
I bet I could. I can call it up, ask Brian to provide that information. I'm sure he can do it faster.
Yeah. Great, so those are action steps. Next meeting. We definitely need to talk about that.
Yeah, August 5th, are we moving it? Gonna look at what other nights are available.
Mark has this 12th, 19th, or 26th.
The 12th, DPIC has the room from 4:30 to 6. Meet after that.
Or we could meet upstairs.
Probably. I mean, well, this is too big for upstairs.
Yeah.
So if you got this, The 19th. Where do we? Topsham Housing Authority is upstairs, so you could have this room on the 19th.
That's probably good, right?
Good for me.
Everybody's good with that.
I won't be here that night.
It should work.
Is it 12 and 6 better for everybody? Okay. We get you another chance.
We're camping twice in August with 2 days in between.
Good. I like the 19th. I'm good with 19th. We all are.
Same time, 5:15.
For me,
And then that gives us a week to get everything finalized to the select board.
No, that gives us one, yeah, that gives us a full week. Yep, weekend day. Yeah. Great.
So we're not kind of in a crunch.
Well, Mark will probably do some changes from what we email.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
sit down and read it.
Got plenty of time. Yeah.
So we're definitely going with the.
No, the night.
I know, but I'm talking about September. September.
This meeting we are.
So unless any other guests have anything else to say, we could adjourn our meeting. Meeting is adjourned.